Greetings, welcome back to Ministry Monday. I'm Carlton Coon. May is Mental Health Month, and one of the books I wrote is Light in a Dark Place, Encountering Depression. And as I deal with this, as I talk about it in various places, it really has been impacting. One of my goals was to bring depression out where that we could talk about it openly and discuss overcoming, I guess, the various challenges that have been part of that condition. I want to move past that. Of course, if you'd like to get my book, it's on Amazon or you can order it at carltoncoon.com. I want to move past that and kind of continue the theme we've been on the last couple of weeks. We talked last week about the parable of the seed and the soil. Let's shift, and we're going to talk about another parable. This is the parable of the talents given. And the owner granted severally as he would, 5 to 1 talent. And I'm certain that the owner had some criteria on which he based his decision. The 1 talent man who would have turned his talent into 2 is still functioning in a world where he's woefully behind the person who now has 10 talents. But that fact is of no consequence to the giver of the talents. He wanted each of these to do the best they could with what he put in their hands. I had an interesting experience some years ago. I preached a weekend for Scott Graham. Many of you know Scott Graham. He is the General Secretary of the United Pentecostal Church, preacher of renown. But my interesting experience in preaching for Scott Graham is the Scott Graham who planted a church in Iowa that has grown. It is now an established church, same name, both men given roles of significant purpose. It would be foolish for Scott Graham, the General Secretary, to spend time fretting that he has not planted a church. It would be foolish for Scott Graham, the church planter, to resent not preaching at great events. Jerry Jones is a friend for the past decades. He served in the same office that Scott Graham now serves. He was the General Secretary. Jerry is a prince of preachers. He is an author. He leads the department that teaches preaching at Urshan College. He's busy preaching as often as he wants, and he is at large events. Jerry is a friend, and he's done a great job. But then there is the revivalist pastor in Southwest Missouri. He became a pastor of a congregation, and he grew the church that he became pastor of. And then realizing there were communities around him that were unchurched, he has raised up either 2 or 3 daughter churches not far from Joplin, Missouri. Most of these leaders, the churches, are young preachers that Pastor Jones has developed. Kingdom impact. Jerry Jones, the former General Secretary, is not fretting that he is not in Southwest Missouri establishing daughter churches. That Jerry Jones in Southwest Missouri is not spending any sleepless nights wishing and regretting that nobody called him to come preach a camp meeting. Now, what I've described is an imperfect illustration for what I'm trying to communicate, but it does describe that God uses people in different ways, and He provides them the ability to accomplish the things He wants them to accomplish. And if they develop the abilities, there's healthy increase. There's no indication in this parable of the talents that the 1 talent man resented being given only 1 talent. That was not his responsibility. The giver of the talents was someone else. It was his responsibility to take what he had been given and increase its value. He was to increase it with all the knowledge and ability he had, or that he could borrow from someone else. When the owner returned, if that 1 talent man had turned it into 2, he would have been honored in exactly the same way the man with 5 talents was honored. Man who had taken his 2 and turned it into 4 heard the exact same words as the man who had taken 5 and turned it into 10. He was rewarded for his effort. And his effort produced accomplishment. Let me ask a question. When the Lord evaluates how well that you have developed and increased the value of what he gave you to work with, what will he see and what will he say? The fellow who was scared to take action and buried the one talent was indicted for not increasing what he had been given. So, are you increasing the value of what God has put within you? The man with one talent would not have been indicted for not having turned one talent into 6. Neither will you. But push yourself. Learn new things. Get help from everybody you can. One talent can become 2. Continue the investment, 2 becomes 4. Continued investment, 4 becomes 8. 8 becomes 16. In the world of finance, investing in the Standard & Poor's 500, which is based on the value, the equity of the top 500 companies traded on American stock exchanges. The S&P 500 has historically allowed investors to double their money every 6 or 7 years. Now, that's not a quick fix. It's not day trading for an immediate return. It's progressive. It's consistent. It's sustained effort in the same direction. Investing in a mutual fund that mirrors the S&P 500, and initial $1,000 investment, let's call it one talent, will grow to 2,000 or 2 talents by year 7. 2,000 talents will become 4,000 by year 14 and 8,000 by year 21. I have an idea that a pastor who has one talent can invest that talent, or if he will get help investing that talent, that man can double his value to the work of God in 6 to 7 years. Now that one talent man is a 2 talent man. You may feel like that one talent man. I want you to listen to what I'm suggesting that you do. That one talent man, maybe he takes a year of college training on counseling, or he reads 50 books, not for sermons, but for knowledge, each of those years. In 7 years, that man will have read 350 books, and I have no doubt he will have doubled his effectiveness in the work of God. Now he has 2 talents, but the 2 talent man doesn't stop the effort with, wow, I've arrived. That would be the same as burying the 2 talents. No, he continues. He reads 50 more good books each year. And he spends 7 years now applying himself to becoming a better Bible teacher. In 6 to 7 years, that pastor will have again doubled his value. Not in his personal equity, but to the work of the Lord. So the one talent man, 14 years earlier, is now a 4 talent man. He continues the course, 50 books each year. He works on his leadership skills, which likely should have been done in the first 7 years. And in more years, he is now an 8 talent man, and then 16, and then 32. Some of you who are young and you feel woefully inadequate, if you'll do the type of thing I just instructed you to do, your value to the work of God will increase in incredible ways. What are you doing to grow yourself? To expand your knowledge? Not simply after Sunday thinking, boy, I got to have something to preach on Wednesday or teach on Wednesday, and after Wednesday, waking up thinking, boy, I got to have something to preach Sunday, and spending the next hours reading and working and studying, and the whole focus is on the event, Sunday or Wednesday. You're really not growing yourself. Grow yourself. That's where the talent is at. The talent is in you. It's not external, it's in you. You are the talent. Grow it, develop it. You can. God bless you. See you next week.